Hello YouTube. In this video I want to talk about knives, especially about my knives. This will be quite a long video, and this will be for maybe the knife enthusiasts and people who are just in general interested in knives. And in this video I will just tell you about my experiences and what I think of my different knives, what I like and what I don't like. I will just talk some. I haven't planned anything out for this video, so I will just grab my knives and say something about them in this kind of long video. And I'm sorry I can't film my head. I cannot film my head because you won't see the table. Alright, so I've got a whole bunch of knives next to me. Kind of hard to pick one first. I don't have many folding knives. I mostly have small size fixed knives because those are my favorite. I will start with one of my most favorite knives. This is the gunny. This gunny is an A2. I bought this from a friend of mine, and I really love this knife. When I first bought it, I thought the orange might be well, a bit un-Bushcraft like, but I really started to like this orange G10 with the black liners. It's a heavy material and it's weatherproof. It's a very nice material, and I really like G10. This A2 steel is it's on the softer side and it rusts quite easily, but it's very easy to sharpen. It's very easy to get razor sharp. And yeah, this is one of my more favorite knives. Also, the Mora Clipper gunny has a very ergonomical handle, and it fits my hand just perfectly. And with these liners inside the handle, this really makes the handle perfect for my hands. And with Mora Clipper, it's always a bit of a gas. You never know what you're getting because they are all semi-factory or semi-custom, so every knife is a bit different. For example, my Gunny L-Max, which is a very beautiful knife. Let me look it up for you. I have too many knives. Alright, here's my Gunny L-Max. In one of my most favorite sheets. This is from Knife Ship Free. I think it's the only seller of this sheath, but it fits this knife perfectly, and I really like that they put a fire steel loop on it. For me, it's a big plus when a sheath has a fire steel loop because I like it aesthetically and practically. This is a very sturdy sheath, but my Gunny L-Max in Desert Ironwood is a lot thinner than this G10. This doesn't have any liners, but I feel my own fingers poking in my hand when I firmly grip this knife, and that is a little bit uncomfortable. But this is also a very nice knife. This L-Max steel is really amazing. I'm really surprised by it. It is quite easy to sharpen, and it keeps an edge longer than CPM 3V in my experiences. Alright, this knife is also very nice. By the way, if you see a knife that you would like to know more about, just ask me. Maybe I'll make a video about it. This is one of my first good knives. This is the Enzo Trapper in 01 steel and curly birch with red liners. I don't know if you can see it in this light, but it's very shiny. The handle is very shiny because I buffed it with beeswax. It's a little bit slippery now, but it won't be a problem for this this size knife. And this knife really gets very sharp, very easy. And what I found about this 01 steel is that when you have it lying around for some time, it will get micro oxidation on the apex bevel, which means it will get a little bit duller in time, but a few strokes of a leather and it will be very sharp again. Or with a white compound, this knife will get very sharp. Elmax knife, very sharp. Bar grip 01, even sharper at the moment. But I know that this Elmax steel can get even sharper, and this 01, which is a little bit dull this moment, I have to resharpen it. Or maybe give it a few extra strokes on that nice leather strap of mine that I just lost in a second, because I had it 1 second ago. Oh, it's just on top of my knife. Yeah, this knife needs a little bit of resharpening, but the 01 steel rusts very fast. So when you live in a moist country, I wouldn't recommend relying on this knife, but it's a very nice bushcraft knife and I really enjoy using it. The handle is a little bit painful when you use it the whole day, and for batoning it is full tang, but the handle is a little bit painful to your hand when you're batoning with this. But this is one of my more favorite knives, and I gotta say the 01 steel is a very easy steel to harden for knife smiths, but Enzo really did a good job on the heat treatment of this knife, and this 01 steel of the Enzo outperforms many of my more expensive knives and more premium steels. I'm really impressed by this steel with the Enzo heat treatment. Next knife is another bar gripper, and this is the bar gripper Canadian Special, which is said to be made to Mike Stewart's hand. I'm lucky that this knife feels good in my hand as well. I haven't tested this knife very much yet, so I cannot say much about it. It is CPM 3V, a proven awesome steel to me, and yeah, it has a very nice edge holding. And what I already found about this knife is that it is really easy to sharpen because of the geometry, and it is really sharp. Well, you can make it really sharp. This is maybe one of the sharpest bar grippers or knives that I have. This is amazingly sharp. I don't even feel it slice through the paper. This knife is amazingly sharp. But I gotta say, I did sharpen it last week. But I cannot tell you any more about that knife. My favorite bar gripper, up next, is this Aurora. This is a really nice mid-sized knife, which I also have in CPM 3V with natural canvas handle. What I like about this natural canvas is that it has some of the characteristics. Yeah, it has some of the characteristics of more synthetical handles, but it's also still natural. So I can use my Danish oil on this and make it look nice again. I could use sandpaper on it if I wanted. This also has liners, and this handle is perfect for my hand. It is a bit longer handle, so you have the ability to chop a little bit with this knife. The thickness is it's quite thick. It's a little bit thicker than the Gunny. It's a little bit less thick than the Bravo 1, and the length is a bit longer than the Bravo 1. And this makes it a very nice knife for batoning small wood, and it is still small enough to be a nice utility knife for carving and feather sticking and that sort of stuff. This is my most favorite bar gripper knife, and I really love it. I really love it. CPM 3V, amazing steel. I believe this knife is hardened to 95 HRC. I don't know for sure, but most of the smaller bar gripper knives are hardened to 60 to 61 HRC, so they're a little bit harder. But that is good for this longer blade. It needs a little bit more toughness. Another bar gripper. Yes, I like bar gripper very much, and I like CPM 3V. What I like about bar gripper is that they really experiment a lot with different steels, and that is what I miss with other companies like Volknieven. Volknieven has a very solid production line with the VG10, but they also use some kind of different steels, but the VG10 is their main steel, which is really nice. But I really like to try new steels. It's one of my biggest interests in this hobby, to try different steels. This not this one. This bar gripper, Bravo 1, with black canvas, because it's mine. Yes. Is really nice. I still haven't had much time to use this knife, but I spent some hours with it in the woods, and I really like it. This thickness is really nice for batoning wood. This really is a survival knife, which is also still suitable for a lot of bushcraft tasks, but you will not carve with this knife. This knife is a prier. This knife is a batoner, a chopper. But the only downside about this knife is still that the short length of this blade still makes this knife not a really good chopper or batoner. It is a good batoner, a really good batoner and chopper for the size knife, but it is not like the Bravo 8, the Bravo 2 will be, so to say. But the handle is just amazing. It is a little bit bigger than the gunnies, and I really like that. It fits my hand perfectly. Actually, I don't have much bad to say about this knife. Also in CPM 3V, maybe my favorite steel. I'm never sure about my favorite steel, but I really like CPM 3V at the moment. But I also really like LMAX at the moment. So and I also really like VG10 and 01 and A2. And there are also a lot of steels that I don't like, but I really don't have that much knives in those steels. But yeah, this Bravo 1 is a very nice knife. This is also canvas, easy to maintain, not as easy as the G10, but I really like this handle. And I always use Danish oil on these handles just to give it a little bit more grip. I really love Danish oil because it will harden out and it gives the knife a nice coating on the handle. I was actually pretty amazed about how sharp this knife can get for its thickness. I can really shave my hairs off easily, no problem. Well, I can shave my hairs with my axe too, so. Next knife. My first Bushcraft survival knife. It is this. My Volknieven A1. This is my love. This is my, not my favorite knife, so to say, but I have the deepest connection to this knife. It's my first knife. I spent really a lot of time with it, and this is just an amazing knife, in my opinion. I really love this laminated VG10 steel, and for this big knife. This is also my biggest knife. As you can see, I really have a lot of small to mid-size knives. I think the size of the gunny is probably my favorite size. I really like how these smaller knives look, not too aggressive, nice for the woods. But yeah, I'm also really in love with this Volknieven. This is the best batoner out of all my knives. It is also the longest and the thickest. But yeah, I have nothing bad to say about this knife. This handle, it's very grippy. I love it in the winter. In the winter it still feels warm. I like to put a mirror polish on this baffle. It has scratch marks at the moment, but yeah, this knife is an amazing chopper. It's an all-rounder, and I can also make really nice feather sticks with it. It can scrape a fire steel just out of the box. The VG10 steel is very easy to sharpen, very easy to maintain. It's rust free. And why I think this Volknieven knife is maybe the ultimate survival knife is because it is 100% carefree. With this knife you can probably do most tasks. You can chop with it. It's not the best chopper, you would use an axe for that, but in a survival situation, if you would just have one cutting tool, this would be a very nice cutting tool. You can make feather sticks with it, it can scrape a fire steel, you can chop with it, you can baton with it, and what I really like about it is you don't have to worry that it will rust, because that is the last thing you want to think about in a survival situation. And also the sheath is 100% carefree. This, what I first thought to be a very ugly sheath, I now think as a very nice practical sheath. I've seen videos on internet that even when it's frozen solid, it keeps the knife locks in place, and it is still easy to get out even when it's frozen solid. This sheath, you can throw it in the water, you can throw it in the mud, take it out, wash it off, and it's good to go. It has the drainage hole. This will not break. It is impossible to get dirty because you can wash it all off. It is sturdy. I think you can smash a hammer on it. And because it's not really appealing, you really don't pay much attention to it. So you don't have to be careful. You don't have to be careful with this, if you know what I mean. And that is good feeling. That is a little bit like the feeling you have with a Mora. You don't have to be careful with a Mora. And this knife almost feels the same. You can do whatever you want with it, and it won't matter. The knife will restore. It's an amazing knife. One of my most favorite knives. Really like it. Next knife is another Volknieven. The little brother of the Volknieven A1. This is the Volknieven F1. Also VG10. My friend had this knife in 3G long time ago, and it was really a bummer. It didn't hold an edge as we would expect, and he sold it and he bought the VG10 version. And this knife, this little knife, I love very much. Also because it's 100% carefree. It's razor sharp. The VG10 is very easy to sharpen. It's nice, it's cute. When I first saw this knife, I thought it was an ugly butter spreader, but I learned to love it, and now I just also like the appearance of the knife. Yes, it's a really nice knife. Also one of my more favorite knives. VG10 steel it has quite a good edge holding, not as good as CPN 3V for example, but it has a good edge holding, especially with this laminated steel, and it is really easy to sharpen, and that's also a big plus. Carefree knife to enjoy. It's I see it as kind of the ultimate Mora, a carefree knife to do whatever you please. Next up is, what do we have? A beautiful knife, a gift from a friend. Very beautiful knife. This is a special knife to me because it was gifted to me, and I really love the traditional aspects of this knife. This is a traditional wooden or bamboo sheath, I don't know, with the leather belts on it. I really love it. It doesn't have much retention, but it keeps the knife in safe. It's a bit wobbly, but I really love the looks and the traditional aspects of it. And this knife is also very beautiful. This is the Teyokni. I don't know which Teyokni, but it's a Teyokni knife with a wooden handle, handmade. And yeah, I really love it. This is blue paper steel, very sharp steel, rusts quite easily, but it is also laminated. You can see the lamination line, but I don't have natural stones to bring them forward. Now I was really amazed to see how sharp this little knife can get, because when I feel the bevel, it's really thick. It's quite a large angle, I think. It's quite sudden convex. But it's very sharp, it's very easy to sharpen, and this is my little pigeon skinner to prepare my pigeon with, and I love it for that task. This is not a bushcrafter, it is not full tang, so it's not safe to use for batoning and stuff, but I really love this knife. And I'm very grateful that this was gifted to me. It means a lot to me. Thank you. If you're watching, you know what I mean. Next knife is another Enzo. This is the Enzo Trapper in N690 CO, the stainless version. I think this is the newest steel of Enzo. I haven't tested it much yet, but the first impressions were okay. Not bad, not impressive. The edge retention is a bit less than this O1 steel, but it's stainless, and that's a very positive thing for me, because I live in a country where it's almost wet all the time. The soil and stuff. It's always wet. Not always, but most of the time. And I don't know how sharp this is, because I haven't touched this knife for a long time. It's still okay sharp. Not much to say about it. This is in my Carda, line in my Carda, I believe. Not very comfortable, this handle. The curly Birch feels a bit warmer. This has a little bit less maintenance. That's why I choose the micarta and the N690 CO, because it will be a total carefree knife, and I like that. So yeah, this is the Enzo N690 CO. And the next knife is... what will my next knife be? It's my newest knife. It's this Heli GT, or Helle GT. It's a very light knife. It's a mid-size knife, but it's very light. It's lighter than the Gunny in my hand. It has a nice handle. What I did notice was that the finger guard was quite sharp. I used sandpaper to remove the sharp edges, and it's a very nice knife now. I already batoned a little bit of wood with it. I wouldn't suggest it because it's not full tang, and it's not made to baton. It's made to do the regular around the camp stuff, and it's made to be light. So I think this will be a very nice knife for backpackers and lightweight campers. Very nice knife. Mountaineering maybe. And for those lightweight addicts. And also with the curly Birch, very nice. Also the sheath is also very simple, very light. And I like the concept. This laminated 12C27 is gives the knife a slight advantage in edge holding above the 12C27 of a Mora. So yeah, I think it's a good knife on first sight. I haven't tested it much yet, so I cannot conclude it yet. The next knife is my favorite Mora. This is the Mora Bushcraft Force in 12C27. My most favorite Mora knife. And maybe one of my most favorite knives. And why, would you ask? You have many expensive knives. Why would you have the Mora as one of your most favorite knives? Well, it's just that I really love these expensive knives, and but when you pay a lot for something, you want to make it look nice. You want to protect it, and this Mora is cheap. You won't mind if you break it, and that aspect for me makes me pick this knife a lot of times. When I'm doing simple jobs, lumber jobs, simple craftsmanship, I will just take this knife and use it also as sort of a Stanley knife. This really is a tool for me, and this handle is very ergonomic, very warm in the winter, not slippery. The back scrapes the fire steel very nice. The sheath is very simple, has a lot better edge retention than the Mora Clipper version. I like this this clip-on. It's also a reason why I take this knife a lot with me. I don't always wear a belt, and then I just grab this knife, clip it on to my pants, and go for it. Really nice, handy knife for 25 euros. Not many reasons not to buy it. Of course, the edge retention and the total quality is a bit less than these more expensive knives, but if you got a knife worth $250, well, this knife is perhaps $25. It's 10 times as cheap, but it won't be 10 times as bad. It's a very nice knife, very competitive with more expensive brands. If all my knives would get stolen, I'll just buy this knife again. maybe a Falknieven or something, and I'd be happy. I would be sad because all my knives were stolen, but I will be happy with I will be content with those two knives. Alright. The Mora Clipper, an old version of the companion. Very simple sheath, which doesn't have any retention at all. Quite bad. It had edge retention. It had not edge retention. It had retention when I bought it. I lost it, but it's still a nice knife. I'm thinking about just putting it in my toolbox. I can make it very sharp. I don't know if it's sharp at the moment. If I used it, it's sharp. You can say a lot about this knife, but it's very cheap, and I've batoned really big logs with it, and it didn't break. So, and I wasn't scared to break it because it was only 10 euros. I've seen videos on YouTube of Sweden and Norway where they just throw these in a large barrel and you can buy them for €1 or something. They just use these as a throwaway kind of work knife. But for me it's a keeper. Really love it. This is my utility, don't be scared to ruin an edge knife, so to say. The Mora companion. Oh, both my Moras are 12C27. This is also 12C27 stainless. This one has a bit better edge retention, not edge retention, sheath retention, but it will fall out if you shake it hard enough. Won't do it because one time I was showing my friend that it would fall out, and it fell out, and I smacked my hand on the point and it really hurt. But this handle is a bit more comfortable than that of the Clipper. It's a nice improvement, and priced the same. I love it for its simplicity, and I love it for its price. same as the Clipper, a utility knife. Next knife is a knife I just bought because I wanted to have it. Nothing special. This is the Mora Classic #1 in carbon steel, very traditional. Haven't used it much. I think I used it one time to carve a piece of wood. I don't find the handle that comfortable, and I think this knife is a bit unsafe to use. This is just a knife I wanted to have, and I bought it. It was 10 euros or something. It's a nice knife, nice edge retention. I kind of like the looks. Very simple, very cheap piece of wood. This is simplicity itself, and it is useful. It is useful. I think I kind of like simplicity. No zombie slayers for me.